Good morning, everyone. You're watching a special program called A Day to Elect on Channel 1.
Good morning, everybody. Today is the most important day. Today is the Mongolian presidential election day. Today we're going to talk about the Mongolian president election and why we have to participate to elect. Today we're going to talk about these topics with Mrs. Ayungil. Thank you for coming here.
Good morning.
Good morning. So today is a special day for Mongolians. We're about to elect our sixth president. So I would like to ask, why is it important to participate in election?
First of all, I agree it's a very important day. Mongolia has a constitution in which we have a president that represents all of us. So it's very important to elect someone who will represent us as a nation. I just participated in election. I just voted before coming to this interview. So there is a mark on my finger. So every citizen has to play her or his own role in saying the expression of our people. So when we vote, we express ourselves, who we are supporting, who we are not supporting. So because of our expression of our will, then the elected president will really become the representative of the people.
The attendance is most important. We know that this day is the most important for us, but in the past we noticed it, the attendance of voting during a presidential election has decreased. Example, in the presidential election, first presidential election was 1993. The 1,100,000 people voted. It's 93%.
Wow.
Then 10 years later, the 1,200,000 people voted, but it's over 66%. Why happened like this? Why people don't want?
Yeah, it's in every democracies the tendency of less and less participation in elections is becoming the common issue. I think it's because of our busy lifestyle, and also it's because of too much information, or it's because of ignorance that it's important. We don't realize how important it is. So I call also election by election, the voters change.
Yeah.
The older generation really participated actively. So when you say that 93% of voters voted in 1993, means that our previous generation was really, really politically active. So why we and our generation is becoming less and less participatory? It just shows that the younger generation is not fully aware as it was the previous generation. So I think it's a demographics of change of voters, but at the same time it shows that every generation needs to get educated about political activities anew. You know, as if every election is a first election. We should always tell people that it's important.
It seems like the young generation is less actively participating in the election. So what's your advice on that to give to the young generation?
Young, and in every election, every voter is a young voter. So if you reached 18 years old, and if you are still Mongolian, you have to vote, because otherwise you will not be counted, and when you are not counted, the percent decreases. So I would say to young people that it's very important to be politically active all your life, whether you are young this year or whether you are aging, but in every election you have to participate to express the interest of people, to express what Mongolian people want, which direction we want to go. So only way to express our future will is to vote, because we can't just tell everybody we want this, we want that, and etc. So all the oral wishes that we are talking at home, at our offices, are expressed on this paper. So I will call young people, express your will on the paper. If there is no one who want to elect, still you should participate, because participation only counts. If you are not participating, it doesn't count. It doesn't count your vote, it doesn't count your will, it doesn't count what you want to have in your country, you know. But when you want some path in your country, you have to express it on the ballot.
What do you think about how important election education is? How important?
Yeah.
Maybe do we need to include about election in our education system?
In our education system, we should talk about democracy and how democracy works and how we express our will democratically. We should teach about it totally in our schools, you know, and there should be humanitarian education on our history of non-democratic past and the history of the democratic changes and what is the difference of living in democratic country. So if you are educated from childhood that we are living in a free and democratic country and this is how we express our will on during election days, etc., then the school graduates will understand that every election is important. Every election is important, whether it's a presidential election, whether it's a parliamentary election, whether it's a local election, whether it's a school election. It's all important because only through that we can collect the will of many people at once.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because comparing with some countries, we're very lucky, but there are countries that people cannot vote, right? So for us, it's very important to participate in election. And some countries during this pandemic have been organizing and hosting the elections, parliament elections, presidential elections. And in Mongolia today, the presidential election is very special because it's been organized during this pandemic. And we all know that pandemic is becoming quite rampant in our country. So how do you see the advantage and disadvantage of this situation?
Yeah, maybe the pandemic might influence their participation. If someone doesn't want to be exposed, they might be too cautious to go to the voting stations. But I would like to call people to use all the precautions, using masks and using gloves and using the sanitary materials, that they can prevent themselves from pandemic. But at the same time, at voting stations, there've been lots of preparation and voting stations. I just voted there. I was cautious also, but the organization of the voting station is really well prepared and all the precautions were taken care of. So I felt safe. So I think we are learning. We are learning during the pandemic how to organize things with pandemic in mind. So I think like very many other democratic countries, we will organize this election successfully.
Okay, thank you for coming here. Thank you for giving more information about election.
Thank you for